Hey, hi guys. Good afternoon. Today, I'm very happy and privileged to have someone in the room. This is the January 2021, my first invited guest, and she's from Australia. She's a book author, and also there's a lot of things about her that today we want to talk about. We only have 20 minutes. So first, I'd like to introduce to you guys Grace Harris. Grace, thank you for coming to the show. And could you tell a little bit more about who you are and what do you do?
Sure. Hi, CS. Thank
All right.
you for having me today. It's very exciting to be here. My name is Grace Harris. I am an author and I wrote the book Become the Woman of Your Dreams. It's a memoir and it is a brave memoir because it's the very first one that's ever written about the epidemic of abandonment in the Philippines. I'm also the founder of Become the Woman of Your Dreams Academy. And what I do is I'm a transformation strategist. I help women to live an extraordinary life, to reach their full potential, and really create relationships around them that are lifelong and deep and meaningful. So, how I've come about doing this journey is a lot to do with the stories that are in the book, Become the Woman of Your Dreams. As a child, I had been subjected to a lot of neglect and abuse. I was abandoned at the age of 6 and I've lived a pretty, colorful life, if you will, lots of ups and downs and lessons. And it wasn't until a near-death experience in 2013 that I've, really made a decision, a radical decision to change the trajectory of my future. And part of that was recreating a lot of the landscape of my life, including my career, including the people around me. And back then, I was in corporate industry. I was in the finance industry in Australia for a long time.
Yeah.
But when I made that decision, it's changed everything. I've become brave enough to tell my story, and I've become brave enough to know that I can help others. And I'm very blessed and very grateful to be in a space now where I actually help women in a few different strategies and areas in their lives. I have a 30-day course called the Atomic Self-Love Project, where you can really become someone who is self-empowered to create the reality that you want by accessing yourself. I also help women to become thought leaders in their field of expertise on a one-on-one coaching. And what I enjoy the most as well, back before COVID, is speaking on stage, just being able to share stories and being able to touch the lives of many people that I may not necessarily meet otherwise. And so, yeah,
Yeah,
pretty
that
much in a nutshell.
wow, that was a lot of stuff if I for those who are new in this area. And two things that caught me when you were sharing this. First, probably you may want to share for those who are new. These two words caught me. First is you make a decision. You mentioned you make a decision to select. So the question is, how did you do that? And the second thing you may want to share with us for the audience is this word called self-care. Okay, would you like to share with us these two things, make decision and self-care? How do you
Sure.
do that? Yep.
Yeah, so the decision was a lot to do with the beliefs. Because when we make decisions, one thing I've learned about decision CS is that there are no right or wrong decisions.
Yes.
There is only a series of possibilities that come with it.
Right.
And so having known that, I had to really study the beliefs behind the decision. Because if your belief is fear-based belief,
Yep.
then you will make a fear-based decision.
Mm.
And leading up to the point of my near-death experience, I studied why did I have that experience?
Oh.
Why was my life like that and up until that point? And so I went back to the beliefs that my decisions that led to that event. And I discovered that they were mostly fear-based beliefs.
I see.
And so how did I make the radical decision is that I just reversed the fear-based decisions into fearless decisions.
Wow.
Things that I didn't want to do before, I just radically made a decision. I'm going to do the opposite. And which means that if I was with toxic people, I'm going to remove them and really create an environment with beautiful people. And, so it
Yeah.
was basically knowing fear-based versus fearless.
Fear-based,
And
fear-based and fearless. Oh, that's very cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
weighing it. So
Yes.
with the self-care, well, I guess you're referring to, I do teach a course called the Atomic Self-Love Project. Like I said, self-care and self-love, there's a little bit of difference, because when so self-care is about knowing when you need to rest, knowing how much respect you want, knowing your values, knowing the beliefs that you have behind your decisions, and knowing really how to create an environment where it's suitable for you elementally, as well as physically, emotionally, and in your mind as well. So that's just being able to care. But self-love is
Wow.
completely different, because self-love is, it's not so different, but it's just very a lot deeper, because it goes down to what's really the truth, and being willing to live that truth, even if that truth is not true, it is not fully comfortable. Because bear in mind that, especially for those who you may be in a journey of self-discovery, you may be asking yourself questions, am I in the right path? You may be asking yourself questions, why am I feeling a little bit unhappy, or that I'm searching for something?
Yeah.
So what I can say to you is, when you start asking these questions, the answers are not always going to be comfortable. But where the discomfort is where you're going to grow. And that's true self-love. Being willing to stand for the truth.
Wow.
If that truth is going to set you free.
Wow, wow. I heard this before. The truth is going to set you free. Wow, well, this is something very interesting. There's self-care and there's also self-love. Oh, so I have a question for you, Grace. That is, how about a person's value system? Where does it fit? Is it on the self-care side or the self-love side? Values, individual values.
Yeah,
Right?
so definitely it goes in both ways. So for example, when I was my value right now, let's just say my present self, my number one value is truth. Like, I have to be true to myself, so that in everything that I do and in everyone that I touch, it is the truth. And so how that relates to self-care is that um, if I don't like, say, as a particular food that my partner cooked, then I'm just going to have to be honest and say it's delicious, but it's not something that I really want to give to my body right now. And when it comes to self-love, then if you are careful enough, then you are being true to yourself. So it filters through, it bleeds into your total self-love practice. So it can, so the value is a very much upfront kind of measurement that you can use. So if you value, if you value, for example, presence when it comes to friendship. So you're not necessarily needing your friends to give you judgment, opinion, or advice. You just want them to be there for you, their presence. So if that's your value, so then therefore, when you're having a coffee with them, part of your self-care is to ask them to honor your presence and honor your companionship, and don't look at their phones, just to look at you and talk to you, right?
Yeah.
So it's because it's a value that you hold to be true, is the presence for one another. And when you're able to express that value and say, hey, do you mind just checking your phone later on after our coffee together? And so that's also going to translate to your self-love, because you're not going to walk away from that meeting feeling like, well, I didn't really get to spend time with her or him because they were looking at their phone, or they were answering their phone, or they were checking their email. So your value is a very tangible way to measure if you are taking care of yourself, so that you are really honoring your self-love practice, if that makes
Wow.
sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I have another question is, does that, for people who doesn't know about this, asking themselves question on this, so probably I would say they may have this fear to be speaking out and express it out. Do you think that this is what some of us are facing? Sometimes we don't want to say out the truth, that we fear that we may hurt the other person's feeling. We rather wait and talk about it later or things like this.
Absolutely, CS. You nailed it in the head there with the word fear. All of us at one stage or another, throughout our lives, are always going to have the the hesitation to tell the truth, to ask the right question, even just to write the question to ourselves. And it's mainly because we don't know if we're going to like the
Yeah.
answer, you see. The question is uncomfortable enough, let alone the potential of the answer. So if the question is, I don't feel comfortable in this relationship, or I don't feel comfortable in my job, or I don't really like that person. So, so you're kind of like posing the question to yourself, what am I going to do about it, about this situation? And if that question is uncomfortable enough, chances are you're going to try to avoid that discomfort and just delay it for later on. But what happens is that when you delay the question, when you delay the self confrontation, or when you delay the conversation that you really need to have with someone,
Mm.
it snowballs into a bigger problem, you
Yeah.
know. And the thing that I can say is that I, you just need to, so I can only give you my experience. And the best thing that's really happened to me is learning to go back into myself and have that stillness, and just have the trust that when I say something, I am not saying something from a judgment
Just,
perspective. You know, I'm just expressing my truth.
yes.
And you need to be prepared for the possibility that people are going to judge you for what you're going to say.
Yeah.
But if you are expressing your truth, the people that are going to judge you for what you have to say, then maybe they're not the right people that
Yeah.
you should be with.
Right.
You know, then maybe you are better off expressing the truth, because why would you want to be around people who do not understand you, who are not there and not have your back?
Right.
So you want to only be with people who are only ever going to elevate you, to support you, and to love you for who you truly are and for your dreams and desires. And if someone is not there for you, then maybe you're better off telling the truth and just having that conversation. Because at
Yeah.
the end of the day, life is short. Yeah.
Yes, yes, correct, correct. Life is really short. And something came to my mind when you were sharing this, Grace. So I understand that you are doing this self-care, self-love, atomic self-love program for ladies, empowering women. Can I ask can I ask you, is there anything for the men? Okay, okay, let me rephrase. Not for the men. Is there a difference how men look at self-care and self-love different from how the women look at it?
I probably could not give you an accurate answer because I'm not a man, but I can, yes. So I can tell you though that a lot of, yeah, true. I can tell you though that a lot of my self-love practice really was encouraged
Oh,
by my partner, who's a
wow.
man. So at the end of the day, I believe that self-love does not discriminate gender or age or culture or religious background. Doesn't matter where you come from, what your color is,
Yeah,
how old you are, and what your beliefs are. When it comes to self-love, it's love.
yeah,
We are all creatures of love. We all come from one source. So the love that I have is the same as what you have. The difference is, the difference is not man, woman, age,
mm,
or culture, or gender, or anything like that. The difference is the beliefs and the preconditioning that we've buried that love in.
yeah,
So, we have all this conditioning and this mindset from the people that raised us, from all these belief systems that we've inherited from other people, and we inherit them. And so say this is your love, you
mm,
wrap it in belief systems, and so then you can't recognize it, and that's how it becomes different. So what your perception of love is different to the perception of her love or his love, because they grew up in a different environment. But when it comes to, when you peel the layers out, it's all gonna be the same. It's love. It's bliss. It's how you accept yourself, that
yeah,
this is me, this is the truth. And so yeah, the reason though that I am more connected to women, that I do empower women, is because I want to get started there.
mm,
And it's if it bleeds out to teaching atomic self-love project to men,
mm,
then that's beautiful.
yeah,
But I wanted to get started with women because I'm a woman and it's just more fun for me. It's just a choice,
I
but I
see.
don't think there is really a difference. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, that's cool. Okay, Since our time is short, there's one more thing that for me, I very much want to ask you about. That word is called authenticity. Okay, Grace, would you like to share a little bit about, to you, what is authenticity, especially in this change COVID time? How do people can become more authentic when they are being around with people, or when they're doing sales, marketing, or all this? Does it help? And so the word here, authenticity, that's the word that I'd like to hear from you.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying about we're all in the era of internet marketing, of everyone is online, and there's so much noise to listen to, and there's so many people saying many different things. And how do you know that the person that you're listening to is authentic? And yeah, so the question is that what is authenticity? Is that your question? What for me is authenticity?
Yes. To you, what does
Yeah,
authenticity means to you?
yeah, absolutely. So authenticity means to me that I don't necessarily have to please everybody. I don't need to convince anyone to start with, and I don't need everyone to listen to me. What I'm here for is to share a story that I know is not just a story that happened to me, but it's also happening to many other people's lives. And what I'm here to do, authenticity for me, is to share a story. And if the story is something that is also happening to you, I'm here to show you how I transcended and overcome the obstacles. And authenticity for me is really just opening up to what could be possible for you and allowing you to make a decision from your heart. Because at the end of the day, what connects people is energy, right? So I don't, I'm not exactly here to convince anyone or to instill judgment or to brainwash people. It's not about that. It's about being here for anyone who is looking for someone that they can resonate with and connect with. Authenticity has a lot to do with energetic connection, you know. And authenticity is because I believe CS, most people are good, and um most people express their version of their truth. Just you have to remember that everybody is speaking from their own perspective. So we're not I am not in a position to judge whether that person is authentic or inauthentic. I know for a fact that they are speaking from their own perspective. And so whether or not I can say that they're authentic or not, it's not really my business, and I'm not here to judge. But for me, authenticity is an energetic connection where I'm here, and if you feel that I could be the one to help you, let me know, because we can explore that. And that's authenticity for me, is just knowing that that the potential has no limit. So I'm not gonna, you know, if someone says to you, you have to do this because if you don't, that's gonna happen, then that's not really giving you the limitless option that is your life, that is telling you what to do. But you know what? No one can tell you what to do. You already know the truth inside of you. You already have the answers. All the answers to your questions, they're already inside of you. All you've got to do is find someone to help you access the truth and open you up. And that's the job that you have to do, is find someone that you can connect to that can help you access the answers that are inside of you.
Wow, that was very cool about authenticity. I get to know so much more about authenticity from you. Thank you, Grace. One last question before we go, and it's nothing to do with what you do. Oh, it's actually something with what you do. Would you like to share with the audience, usually what do you love to do on a weekend basis when you're not at work? What do you do?
It's a funny question because I work on the weekends. It's one of my busiest days. But I think what you mean is that in the days that I'm not working, and it doesn't have to be the weekend. So I live on the coast of Australia, and so I have like, I don't know, 5 or 10 beaches that I can choose to, and I just drive like 5 to 10 minutes down the road. So I love doing that. I can just drive quickly, have a quick swim, come back home, and I'm refreshed. So that's one of the things that I love to do. But in between work as well, yes, I love to just get up and do some yoga stretches. That really helps me. Stretch my body, twist my body, bend my body, do some breath work.
Wow,
It's
breath work
very
also.
refreshing.
Wow.
Yeah, breath work. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I am very much into moving meditation because when I sit still and try to meditate, it's a little bit difficult. So I just have to move and breathe. So it becomes a moving meditation.
Whoa, moving meditation. Wow, that's very cool. Okay, that shall we'll have it another topic for that. Yeah, cool. Okay, Grace, once again, thank you for coming into the Zoom room. Really appreciate your time and your sharing. I believe there's lots more that you can share with the world out there. Because of time, we will just stop today, and then hopefully I will see you again, and I'll get you into the Zoom room with this connect conversation again. Thank you, Grace, for coming in. Thank you very much. Thank you, Grace.
You're welcome.